Hi again, welcome to my latest video. Well, on this one, I'm going to review a webcam, a brand new webcam from NEXIGO, just released today. Their Iris N1000 4K webcam. It has a lot of very advanced features to it. I had reviewed a previous model, which I have right now sitting on top of my monitor, the N960, not too long ago, and it did very well. This one will also have AI engine built into it, and the ability to do some very advanced features. So we'll see how that all works out. But the biggest thing that they talk about with this particular one is that it has the largest sensor of any webcam that's out there today. And with some other features they've added, it will compete with a digital single lens reflex camera, a 4K camera, just like one of the ones that I have. So what do you think I'm going to do toward the end of this video? I'm going to match it up head to head, looking at the same scenes and under the same conditions as one of my DSLR cameras, and we'll see how it plays out. So stay tuned for that. Well, let's open up this box, see what it comes with, and get started. Okay, here we go. The Iris NEXIGO N1000. Let me open this guy up. Oh, it's really interesting. It's got like a interesting pattern. Looks silver from my angle until I start changing the light. It says right here in the front, the largest sensor on a webcam. I guess that's for today. Get next level with NEXIGO. Okay. Whoa, look at this. Got a little back box here up at the top. They give a QR code and the website for support. They've got a quick start guide and a full user manual. The user manual is thicker. I'll go through these and see what they look like before I start doing some comparison and testing. Probably have to put a couple of 2 AA battery. We'll see if that's included somewhere in here. Put that on the side, and let's take the webcam out. Well, it's pretty hefty. It's really good, a good weight to it. It is large. What do we got here? Oh, it's got a privacy cover. Snaps off. I don't really use those, so I'll probably just leave that off. A pretty large lens there. It's got a standard top of monitor webcam holder. It can go onto, obviously, a tripod as well. So it looks pretty good. Put that on the side. What's in here? Anything else? Oh, a lot of foam here. We got in here a USB 3.0 Type A to Type B. See, that is Type B, just like their other 960 camera that I reviewed. Anything else in here? What is this? Oh, a converter that goes from Type A to Type C. Just in case this one doesn't work for your computer, you can plug this in here and convert it to Type C. That's interesting. I'll leave that on there. I guess it has to get the power through the USB. I don't see a power brick to this. 4K webcam, the model N1000, 5 volts. It's input, so it must be coming in through the USB, so we'll have to connect that up to either a power adapter of some sort or to the computer itself. And then an HDMI, if I'm not using this for the output, I can use this one. I'll have to see how to switch them, probably in the on-screen menu. And I think that's pretty good. So let me go ahead and read through the books and see what it has in store. And then I'll start doing some testing and show you guys the results. One thing to take note of, this cable, the Type A to Type B 3.0, that's 10 foot long. That's a pretty long cable. That's a pretty good feature. I don't see any batteries for the remote. I'll have to get my own. And obviously I'll need an HDMI cable when I do the testing of that. It didn't come included in this. Okay, right now I have the camera through its HDMI output, but only going at 1080p. So you can see the menuing a little bit better. I want to show you what some of the menus look like before I move on to the actual test and comparison. So if I go to the actual camera and I hit the menu button, which is this little button right here, the menu pops up on the screen. As you can see, there's quite a bit to be set up on it. You click the center button, the home button, to make the selection. So if I want to select the setup part of it, I would click there, and then I would go into there. And then these are the things you can set up. You can set up the mic audio. You could set up the on-screen display menu in terms of how it flips or not. You can do a lot of different options. USB mode, bulk mode versus standard mode. To get back out again to the previous menu, you hit that little triple dot one once more, and then it backs up to the parent menu. And then we could look, what is the onboard AI, the artificial intelligence? Right now we have it set for auto framing, auto tracking, and facial enhancement. Well, the facial enhancement is turned off. You could turn facial enhancement on, make yourself look a little bit younger. Let me try that. And switch it to on. It doesn't look very good. It affected the brightness quite a bit on that. I have to go back and adjust it. So I'll change that back to off. And I'll back up. And we have the exposure. You can change the exposure compensation. Do you want compensation or not? And the level of the compensation, and a lot of different choices with that. The manual goes into these in very much detail, much more than I can really do justice for here in a short video. I want to go back one menu, and you can go also into the next one, which is color, and you can adjust the different colors. The red, the blues, the hue in general, which is generally a composite between the green and the red, which includes yellows. I won't play with any of that. We have it set for auto white balance right now, high sensitivity. You can adjust that if you want to something else, low, medium, or high. I'll leave it at high. I'll back up. We can change the image quality. Right now it's got brightness, it's got contrast, sharpness, and a whole bunch of other options you can play with. Do you want it to be black and white? Well, we can just go to this one right here. It's currently set for color. Let's click on that. You click the right arrow to it to change selection options. So now there I am in black and white. Old school, huh? I'll change it back to color. You can change the gamma, the HDR you can turn on. You can also turn on low light mode if you'd like. Let me back up. You can do noise reduction. Select the center button. Right now I have low noise reduction set to a 1. I could go all the way up to different numbers if I want. Up to 3, I believe. 4, 5, 6, and then off. Let me just leave it at 1 and leave it at that. There's also, that was 2D noise reduction. You could also do 3D noise reduction, just a different option. I'll leave it up to you to look up. Back up. The HDMI video format. Well, right now I have it set for using the HDMI output from this camera right now, but I have it set, if you look here, to only 1080p. I could go ahead and pick, well, I switched to 144p. I don't want that. And now I've gone ahead and set it to 1080p, 25 frames per second. I can arrow up to other options if I'd want. I can go to 1440p, for example. And now it's gone to 44p. Let me go up to 4K 30. Be hard to see the menu at this. That's why I switched it. And that's 4K 30. Let me go back to 1080p 30. And there we are, as I started out in this demonstration. Let me back out of this one. And then you could look at general information. If you wanted to just see what it's currently set to and a few characteristics, it's got firmware version 1.0.0. There is no new one as of the date of this filming, the first day that it's being released. The firmware goes back only just a few days to 8/22. HDMI is currently set to 1080p 30. It would show you if there's something else there. And I'm in what's called meeting mode. And you change the different modes, by the way, by using this little center button here. But let me get out of the menu system first. You can change the remote address. You can actually handle with one remote. You can handle multiple of these cameras if that's the way you want to do it. There are different views, for example, with different images of the subjects that you want to take pictures of. But I'm not doing that in this case. I only got one camera. And you can restore all defaults if you wanted to. But I just got out of that, so let's take a look at what the different types of modes are for operation mode. Right now that's in streaming mode, low light mode, meeting mode. That's how I started out. So you can switch the modes by this button. The menuing system also allows you to do it, but this is a quick access to that. There's a lot of other options to this remote, but I'll leave it up to you to take a look at the manual and get familiar with them. You got to play with these. You just don't learn them by watching somebody describe each and every one. Let's move on to some testing. Okay, here we go. This is the N1000 Iris from NEXIGO, and I'm talking directly to the camera. I have the sound though coming through my mixer right now, so let me switch over so you can hear what the sound sounds like from the camera itself. Okay, here's the sound from the camera itself. How does that sound compared to my mixer? Now my mixer obviously is meant for a recording like this, so it's set up properly with my computer, so it may sound a little bit better. But this is the natural color. I didn't have to adjust any color. I just zoomed in and out with the remote control. So for example, if I go ahead now and tell it to zoom in a little bit, let me hit the plus on the remote control. And I can zoom out. And we can see the difference in terms of what it looks like. I can also pan over to left, right, whatever I want to do. Okay, so that's how it looks and that's how it sounds from, I am about 3 feet away from the actual webcam at this point. So this is exactly how it would sound for most average users. But let me show you something. I have underneath this another view. It's the same camera, but it's set up in the lower version of it using the USB output. So I have both outputs connected to my computer right now. And as you can see, both of them work. So that goes to show if you had 2 different computers, potentially, you could have it displaying on 2 different computers for you. Now I'm still back, I went back to my mixer sound. Let me switch over to the sound from the lower one, from the USB. Let's see if that sounds any different. Okay, so here's the sound from the camera itself, but now it's coming in through the USB connector rather than the HDMI. Does it sound any different? Again, I'm about 3 feet, about 1 meter away from it, so this is the sound it would be in a standard room. I don't have any real heavy sound suppression here, but obviously the webcam is not going to be the same quality as my mixer with a lav microphone on it. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to change it so that got another camera present. Right next to this camera on the left here, on my left, is my DSLR camera from Sony, a Sony ZV-E10. So let me activate that one and let's see what it looks like. So now this is my Sony ZV-E10 right here. I have my finger up to it at this point. Let me switch over to the sound from my ZV-E10 camera. So now this is the sound as picked up from my Sony camera. See how much difference it makes? The Sony has served me well just using its camera microphone. However, it's not as good as some of my other sound options that I have available to me. For example, connecting a lav mic directly up to it. The NEXIGO camera does not really have that option to connect a second camera, but obviously, you know, using whatever application you're using, you can have a second sound source as well that overrides what the camera is inputting, just as I'm showing here. Let me switch back. Okay, I'm back to my 2-camera view. Actually, the NEXIGO one on the left-hand side of the screen, I'm showing both the HDMI and USB outputs of it. But over to your right is my Sony ZV-E10. However, I got a third one now. Over to my right, which will appear in your lower right, will be another NEXIGO camera. Let me activate that and you'll see what I'm talking about. So now I have actually 3 cameras up. Over to my right, which appears in your lower right screen, is the NEXIGO N970p. It is another camera that was extremely good that I reviewed a few months back. It also has its own remote, and it can be zoomed and panned and focused and whatever else we want to do to it. Let me show you as an example here. And it has the same AI engine, which allows it to center all people within the same frame. But it doesn't have the same number of new features that the N1000 has. So I just wanted to show it for comparison's sake. Let me switch the sound over to that so you can see what that one sounds like. So now we're listening to the sound out of the N970p. It probably sounds very similar to the other ones. I'm about the same distance from it, about 3 feet. But it's a webcam sound, as we all expect to hear, with the echoing of this room included. Okay, so this pretty much concludes my review. I hope that you liked this NEXIGO N1000 Iris. It is an extremely good camera. I like it a lot, and it'll probably be my primary webcam going forward from now on, the one that sits on top of my main monitor on my streaming computer. We'll see, but that's the way it's headed right now. It has a lot of good features to it, and it's worth a look. So until the next time.